First of all, Orpheus, as we've established, is the founder and the origin of the Greek mystery cults and of paganism as a whole. This is a reference to the Orphic odes or the Orphic hymns, which are probably no longer around. At least I think Origen talks about the fact that, hey, well, listen, the Orphic texts are no longer around. They didn't survive, but we still have the scriptures, kind of a thing.
Nice. Little shade being thrown.
Oh, don't worry. There's going to be a lot of shade. So it's in this sense that Orpheus is considered by the Greeks to be the first hierophant, like priest, or the first theologian. In other words, whatever he established carries significant weight. This is really important to both the arguments Greeks were using to use Orpheus against Christianity, and then the counter arguments that Christians would use in their own polemics. So whatever Orpheus established carries significant weight, and in fact, the early pagan polemics against Christianity basically are contrasting the Orphic, which is the supposedly elegant, supposedly sophisticated, let's call them scriptures, right, against the barbaric Hebrew scriptures on which Christianity had been founded. So they're saying, listen, we have high-quality Greek poetry, and you have a bunch of barbarian sand people. So this is the first way in which Orpheus is used by people who are trying to write polemics against Christianity in the first 5 centuries. There's also Orpheus, and then what Christianity does is it takes that and turns it around, and Orpheus's Thracian origin is emphasized. Now, this is important because the Thracians are, Bulgarians and some people in Greece and Turkey, I guess. The Thracians are barbarians. So, follow the sort of... The accusation is, it's the Orphic stuff that's written by Orpheus. He's the creator, founder of our religion, and your stuff is actually made by a bunch of barbarians. And then Christianity could say, in return, actually, no, your guy, who is your source of truth and religion, is Thracian. He's also a barbarian. And the fact that Christianity has barbarous, which is to say just non-Greek or Roman origins.
Yeah, that's what barbarian
has nothing to do with whether or not it's true. And then secondly, there is an ancient Jewish tradition, and this is attested at least to the 2nd century BC in Alexandria, that Orpheus, seeking after wisdom, came to the land of Egypt, which in Greek understanding of the world is the land of wisdom, and he converted to the Hebrew religion while in Alexandria. I wish we should have done like some really clickbaity, like, here's three religions, or if in the third one will shock you or something. But yes, this is a tradition that predates
Orpheus
Christianity.
The Israelite?
That Orpheus traveled to Alexandria, converted to the Hebrew religion while in Alexandria, and thus the founder of the pagan religion ultimately learned wisdom from the law of Moses. Now, the idea then is, if you want to use Orpheus, there's, listen, let's talk. You want to talk about Orpheus? Let's talk about Orpheus.
We got Orpheus.
So I'll just read one example from Clement of Alexandria. And I want to point out that Clement is mainly kind of focusing on the first of the 3 senses that we just talked about. And what he's going to do is contrast Orpheus with Christ.
Okay.
So the idea is Christ as the new Orpheus. And he doesn't go to the descent into hell and resurrection, which is where you would think he would go. But instead, he focuses on his sort of culture hero aspect. So he says, in my opinion, our Thracian Orpheus and the Theban and the Methymnian too are not worthy of the name of man, since they were deceivers. Orpheus, under cover of music, they have outraged human life, being influenced by demons, through some artful, sated sorcery to compass man's ruin. By commemorating deeds of violence in their religious rites, and by the way, he's listing Orpheus, but then he's also naming important figures in the Dionysian cult, which is sort of, I think, one of the main things he's writing against. This is from his exhortations to the Greeks. By commemorating deeds of violence in their religious rites, talking about the Bacchic stuff, and by bringing stories of sorrow into worship, they were the first to lead men by the hand to idolatry, yes, and with stocks and stones, that is to say, statues and pictures, to build up the stupidity of custom. By their chants and enchantments, they have held captive in the lowest slavery that truly noble freedom which belongs to those who are citizens under heaven. But far different is my minstrel, for he has come to bring to a speedy end the bitter slavery of the demons that lord it over us, and by leading us back into the mild and kindly yoke of piety, he calls once again to heaven those who have been cast down to earth. He is at least the only one who tames, whoever tamed the most intractable of all wild beasts, savage man. For he tamed birds, that is flighty men, reptiles, that is crafty men, lions, that is passionate men, swine, that is pleasure-loving men, wolves, that is rapacious men. Men without understanding are stocks and stones. Indeed, a man steeped in ignorance is even more senseless than the stones. So he's taking these sort of tropes from especially the Dionysian cult, and then he sort of says, here's what those mean to you, and then actually here's what those mean to us. As our witness, when he complains about, when he says like the statues and pictures or whatever, that's not an iconoclastic rant. Clement of Alexandria, not an iconoclast, but what he's saying is that's referring to a part of something that's done as part of the Dionysian cult, right? And so he's saying, says men, how do we understand it as Christians? Men without understanding are stocks and stones. And therefore also, false images. Indeed, a man steeped in ignorance is even more senseless than stones. As our witness, let the prophetic voice, which shares in the song of truth, come forward, speaking words of pity for those who waste away their lives in ignorance and folly. And then he quotes something we're going to read this weekend. For God is able of these stones to raise up children unto Abraham. So Christ is our minstrel.
Yeah.
And he's the founder of our rights.
Yeah. There are a couple things that struck me about this right away. Number one, reptilians confirmed.
Yes. It's
number two, you began by saying like this, he emphasizes Orpheus as this culture hero versus, as you said, what we might expect, which is the descent into Hades. But I think what this does is it actually emphasizes that how is Orpheus largely received in this time? I mean, Clement of Alexandria is
yes.
When is he? Second century? Yeah, I mean, he's very early. How is he received? This
right.
is the way that he's mainly received, is in terms of the cultic experience. Right. That it's not largely about this particular story. Now, I think for us in the 21st century,
the story is a part of it, and if we knew more about like Orphic cults, remember most of the hymns don't survive to us. It's quite possible a lot of the mystery cults seem to have a sort of come as close to death as possible sort of aspect to them, and so there probably is something like that, involving his myth, but we just don't know.
We don't know. It's just kind of lost.
Yeah.
But I think number one, the context is simply different, and Clement knows things that we don't.
Yeah, that's right. He's dealing with people who really still believe this stuff and practice it. But this is a desire for escape, and it's an escape from mortality, this idea that we're sort of trapped in it. We're trapped in our bodies. We're trapped in this world. We're trapped in a cycle that's going to just keep repeating over and over again. And, that's part of what's going on with the story of Orpheus and Eurydice. You can't really get out.
Right. It's futile. That's one of the things. It's this futile fatalism.